Good morning, students. This is your Shanghita ma'am, and today we will be reading My Childhood by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. It was a small account of the childhood days of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He was not only proclaimed as a great scientist but also as a great statesman. He was born on 15th of October 1931. He was an Indian aerospace scientist and politician who served as the 11th of President of India from 2002 to 2007. He spent 4 decades as a scientist and science administrator, mainly at the Defense Research and Development Organization and also in Indian Space Research Organization, in short ISRO. He came to be known as the Missile Man of India for his work on the development of ballistic missile. Kalam was elected as the 11th President of India in 2002. He was also referred to as the People's President. He was also a recipient of several prestigious awards throughout the world. Dr. Kalam received honorary doctorates from 30 universities and institutions. He was also awarded with the coveted Indian Civilian Awards like Padma Bhushan in 1981, Padma Vibhushan 1990, and the highest civilian award called Bharat Ratna in 1997. The life story, as depicted in your Beehive book, is a remarkable account of a simple man's journey, breaking many barriers and achieving the dream. It also depicts the true essence of Indian rich heritage, which lies in embracing all the different religions. Here, the story of my childhood is an extract from the autobiographical novel Wings of Fire by APJ Abdul Kalam. Dr. Kalam, who was one of the greatest scientists of India and also the 11th President of India, gives an account of his remarkable childhood days. He talks about the people, the incidents, and the experiences that he had during his childhood, which shaped his adult life. Although he was born in a conservative society, his family, his teachers, and his friends influenced Dr. Kalam in his childhood, and he imbibed values of secularism, honesty, and discipline. Written in a very modest tone, the extract is very inspirational to you children. Now students, let's start reading the text. The text is in your Beehive book, page number 68. Okay? I was born into a middle-class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram, in the erstwhile Madras state. My father, Jainul Abdin, had neither much formal education nor much wealth. Despite these disadvantages, he possessed great innate wisdom and a true generosity of spirit. I was born means, who is I over here? Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Where was he born? He was born in a very middle class Tamil family in the island town of Rameshwaram, which is erstwhile Madras. Erstwhile means former. The meaning is also written in your book. Okay, 68 page. So, erstwhile Madras, former Madras, formerly it was called Madras, now it is called Chennai. Okay, so erstwhile Madras, former Madras, he was born into that state. His father's name was Jainul Abdin. He had neither much formal education nor much wealth. He was not wealthy and he was not formally educated also. Despite these disadvantages, he had great innate wisdom. Innate meaning is also written in your book. Inborn. He had a kind of inborn wisdom in him. And it was a wisdom that he was born with. Okay? And a true generosity of spirit. Generosity means kindness. He was very kind-hearted. He was very generous man. He had an ideal helpmate in my mother, Ashiamma. So Ashiamma is the name of my mother. My mother means Dr. Abdul Kalam's mother's name was Ashiamma. Okay? And she was also a great woman. She was also a great lady. I do not recall the exact number of people she fed every day. His parents were so generous, so kind-hearted that they used to feed many people. Okay, the people who were in need, they were poor, they do not have anything to eat. So they used to help them out. Many people, she used to feed many people in their house at that time. But I am quite certain that far more outsiders ate with us than all the members of our own family. So all the members of our own family, okay, there were less numbers of people in their family. Okay, so more than the people who were outside their family, they ate with them more than their own family members. Because his parents were very generous, okay, very kind-hearted. They loved to help others. So that is why the people with whom they didn't have any connection with, they didn't have any direct relation with, okay, the members outside his family, this kind of people used to come to his house and they were fed by his parents because his parents were so generous and kind-hearted. Okay. Now read the next para. I was one of many children, a short boy with rather undistinguished looks. Undistinguished means very ordinary. I looked very ordinary. I was not very extraordinary. I didn't look very good. Okay, I was very ordinary, average looking boy at that time. Born to a tall and handsome parents, but my parents were very tall and they were very handsome also, good looking. We lived in our ancestral house. Ancestral means inherited from their forefathers. So they lived in an ancestral house, which was built in the middle of the 19th century. So the house was built in the middle of the 19th century where he used to live with his parents and his other family members. So it was a fairly large Pakka house made of limestone and brick on the Mosque Street in Rameshwaram. My austere father used to avoid all the inessential comforts and luxuries. However, all the necessities were provided for in terms of food, medicine and clothes. So my austere father, austere means simple, strict and severe. The meaning is also written over here. He used to avoid all the inessential comfort. Inessential means unnecessary comfort. He didn't provide us with any unnecessary comfort and luxuries also. However, all the necessities were provided for. We were all provided with our basic necessities. Basic necessities like food, medicines and clothes. Okay, these are the necessities that he used to provide us with. But he didn't approve of any comforts and luxuries. In fact, I would say that mine was a very secure childhood, both materially and emotionally. That means Kalam lived in a family where his childhood days are very secured, and emotionally also he was very enraged. He was very happy because he had loving parents and a beautiful family. Okay, so that is why he was very happy. He grew up in a very happy and well nourished family. So children, it's very important that we should be grown up, the child should be grown up in a very secured home where he can imbibe many good qualities from his parents, from the members of his family, from the other members of his family. So we need to provide the children with good values so that they in their adulthood they can be grown up into a very responsible citizen. Okay, so come to the next page, that is 69, page number 69. The Second World War broke out in 1939. When I was 8 years old, when Abdul Kalam was 8 years old, at that time in 1939, the Second World War broke out. For reasons I have never been able to understand, a sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. Erupted means suddenly started. There was a sudden emerge of demand of tamarind seeds in the market. Okay, so he used to collect the seeds and sell them to a provisions shop on Mosque Street. So I used to collect the tamarind seeds, okay, and I used to sell them in nearby provisions shop. A day's collection would fetch me the princely sum of 1 anna. What is 1 anna? And what is princely sum? Princely sum means a generous amount of money, and anna means an old Indian coin worth about 6 paisa. Nowadays we cannot buy anything with 6 paisa, but at that time when Abdul Kalam was born, at that time that 1 anna had a value. Okay, so it was a great value for him because for the first time he was earning the money. Okay, so that is why it was of great value, it was of great worth to him. My brother-in-law Jalaluddin would tell me stories about the war which I would later attempt to stress in the headlines of Dinamani. Dinamani is the name of the newspaper, local newspaper. Okay, so he said, my brother-in-law was Jalaluddin and he used to tell me many stories regarding the war which I would later attempt to trace. Now later I used to find it in the headlines of Dinamani, the name of the newspaper. Our area, being isolated, was completely unaffected by the war, as he lived in a very remote village of Tamil Nadu. So that is why his area was completely unaffected by the influence of the Second World War, which was going on at the time. And the whole world was hugely affected by it, okay, including India. But soon India was forced to join the Allied forces and something like a state of emergency was declared. So what is Allied forces? See, it is written in your book only. Allied forces means the armies of UK, USA and Russia during the Second World War. So India joined the armies of UK, United Kingdom and USA, United States of America and Russia during the Second World War. So India took part with them in the Second World War because at that time India was under the British rule. Okay, India was not independent at that time when Kalam was referring to this. Okay, so the Allied forces and something like a state of emergency was declared. So the state of emergency was declared at that time. The first casualty came in the form of suspension of the train halt at the Rameshwaram station. So we came to know about the war When? Because the first casualty came in form of suspension. Casualty means loss. The first loss came in the form of suspension. Suspension means adjournment or delayed. Okay. So the train was stopped. It delayed. The train was stopped from being a halt in Rameshwaram. Okay. Road between Rameshwaram and Dhanushkodi. So between Dhanushkodi and Rameshwaram, the train used to halt. Now it was stopped. It was being stopped. Why? Due to the Second World War. Okay. Now, Samsuddin, that forced my cousin Samsuddin, who distributed newspapers in Rameshwaram, to look for a helping hand to catch the bundles, and as if naturally I filled the slot. So my cousin Samsuddin, he used to distribute newspapers in Rameshwaram. So he was looking for a helping hand, and I was there. I was very interested to do the job. So I filled in the gap. So Abdul Kalam started distributing paper as a paper boy. Okay, as you can see in the picture, I filled the slot. Samsuddin helped me earn my first wages. The first money that I used to earn through Samsuddin by distributing papers. Okay. Half a century later, I can still feel the surge of pride in earning my first money for the first time. So he was just a boy who was earning money for the first time. So he was very proud of himself. Okay. He was just a boy like you, and he was earning the money for the first time on his own. So that is why he was very proud of himself. Here surge means outpouring pride, outpouring of pride. Okay. And allied forces means I have already told you, and also the meaning is already written over there. So half a century later, when he was writing his autobiography, at that time he felt a kind of joy, a kind of pride, because of the first money that he earned after selling the papers with his cousin Samsuddin. So he was very proud of himself at that time, because he was earning money very honestly, okay, and very laboriously. After a hard labor, he was earning money. So he was very proud of himself. Students, that's all for today. In the next class, we will read more.